Hey everyone, welcome back to Fallout 76. Hopefully you guys had a good holiday with your family. If you do that sort of thing, that's where I've been the past few days, spend some time with the family just relaxing. But now it's time to get back in the swing of things here, and I thought this would be the perfect time to make this video. If you guys do not know yet, Bethesda basically was talking about, their plans for 2019 and what's to come, what to be expected. And one of the things they talked about was a new mode that will have no PvP restrictions. And for me, that makes me really excited. One of the things I was really excited for was games coming to the game and be able to PvP. And as of right now, the game does not have that as an actual thing to do. But before that actually gets dropped in here in 2019, I wanted to share with you guys a concept that my good buddy, my good friend Azex came up with. He's not a YouTuber, you can find his link down below in the description. He came up with a really good concept for Fallout 76 PvP and how to rework it. And I kind of just bounced off ideas here and there when I could help him out, or when I thought something wasn't really good or something like that. But this concept he has, I think, would actually be able to make it to where both the PvE and PvP community could still play on the same servers together, and there wouldn't be any big issues. I'd really hate to see them have to split the servers for PvP and PvE. So again, this is a concept. This is not what is guaranteed to come to the game, but let me know what you guys think about this idea down below in the comment section. What you would change, what you'd add to it, what you don't like, what you like, or if you just have a different idea entirely, let me know down below in the comment section. I'd really like to know what you guys think about this. So let's start with the map of Fallout 76. So when you open your map, the map is huge, but if you guys don't know this yet, there's actually a good amount of the map you actually cannot access. When you finally reach the end of the playable world, there's actually an invisible wall or border, whatever you want to call it, and it's like this around the entire length of the map. Me and Titan Shield Gaming actually walked the entire length of the map. It took a little over 4 hours to do. We followed the invisible border as best as we could, and we came up with a pretty good idea of what areas are really pushed back in the sense of where we can't access, and what areas are right on the actual edge of the border, the actual map you look at when you open up your map in game. And I'm bringing this up because the idea that Azex had involves just taking one of these non-playable areas and making it full-on PvP. And if I was to choose an area, honestly, I'd make it the northwest corner of the map, or the top left corner of the map. So that river that's on the map right there, that really big river, everything inside that, like that little island right there, that is all hands-on PvP, no restrictions. You go in there, you're going there to fight. You might die, you might come out as a super trooper, who knows. And I think this area actually be really good for this because it's not too big to where if you go in there you might not see players for hours, but it's big enough to where you won't be stepping on top of each other's feet entering the actual zone itself. Now what would happen inside this zone is actually a really cool thing. Me and Azex kind of bounced some ideas off each other, and this is what we came up with. So inside this zone, you could not only find players, but you could find really high level spawns, NPCs, whatever you want to call them, and they could be like level 65, 70 plus, it could be anything. But then you could also, at the same time, you could find, you want to call them world bosses, right? Things like the Scorch Beast Queen, for example, something like that, to where it's an elite status, and it's like level 85 plus or 90 plus. And the reason for this in there is so not only will it benefit the PvP players that were looking into PvP, but it also will allow PvE players to go in the zone as well, and not just go for the PvP aspect. They can go in there with their buddies, try to survive, and actually fight off other players while they're trying to farm mobs, which we'll get to in a second here as well. Plus, having spawns like this, like the elite bosses, or higher level spawns and stuff like this in this area, it can make for some very interesting PvP situations. Because say you're with your buddies, you enter the zone, and you get halfway through, and all of a sudden you see another squad fighting a Scorch Beast that's like level 100 or something like that. Okay, the levels are just examples, so don't take that to heart. But just say that's what they're doing. They're fighting level 100 Scorch Beasts. You come across them and you start, shooting at them, and you're making it hard for them to kill the thing for the reward. And now they decide they should back off and just focus you while they're trying to fight off the Scorch Beast Queen, and things come through their head. And then all of a sudden, hey, it's getting exciting. It's getting tense, it's getting stressful. You might get happy, you might get mad, but that's the whole point of this. Now, another idea that Azex had that I thought was just perfect, I thought this was so cool, was to have a currency that you can only get while being in that zone. So you can use, and the example he used was a PvP token. I'm sure that's not what it would be called if this was something that ever came to the game. But his idea was this. So you could get these tokens by killing players. So like right now when you shoot players in the game, it gives you a little bit of caps and stuff like that. If you kill players in the zone, say it gives you 10 of these tokens, okay? But for those that don't like to really go out in PvP and hunt players, you can go in there just to farm the NPCs as well, which will also drop tokens. Maybe, maybe not as much as you get for actually killing a player, but you can still farm tokens that way as well. And killing like the world bosses, quote unquote, like the high level elites that can spawn there randomly. you'll get even more tokens than maybe even for killing the player itself, because that'd be like considered like a world boss situation. Now what you would do with these tokens is you'd actually turn them into shops that would be scattered around the entire border of the entire PvP zone. And you'd go there and you could get, you know, maybe exclusive plans or like paint jobs and stuff just solely from those tokens. You couldn't get them anywhere else in game. Some people might not like that idea, but I think that doing something like that would add a really great end game experience that you can always add to as time goes on. And every time you enter this zone, things will never, you know, they'll never be the same. Now I understand some people might not like the idea of like having like exclusive currency just for like the PvP players. I think I know that's what people would be saying right now, like down below in the comment section. But again, you could farm them off NPCs. It'd add some pretty interesting end game content. It could anyway in the shops that you'd, you know, spend these tokens on. Plus, every time you go in the zone, it's never going to be the same. Like right now, when you go fight the Scorchbeast Queen, or when you go to an area, NPCs, you know, they spawn in the same spot, and there's nothing else that's really a threat to you. And it's not that it's not exciting, because it's still fun, but there's nothing that's intense really. But when you throw the aspect of the PvP behind it, you always have to watch your back. Which again, that would add the tense, that would add the fun, you know, the mad, the stress, everything that comes to light when there's, you know, random things thrown at you that you cannot control and don't know if they're going to be there or not. Now, a few other things to mention. Azek said that he personally would not allow camps to be built in the zone whatsoever, which I agree with. It'd be kind of annoying because people would just be spamming camps with turrets everywhere. I think this would be a great thing, just like for straight up survival. There is no camps in there. Maybe you could find cookie pots and stuff like that and the crafting benches throughout the, you know, the zone itself, which would be kind of cool because it might be kind of like a focus point. People could camp those spots if people are trying to repair stuff like that. But the other thing I think people would have issues with is the actual border itself. So again, if you look at that map where that river is, like I said, everything inside, you know, inside the river that kind of looks like a little island there, that would be the border, or even the river would be the border. Obviously, you want to add more entrances and stuff like that, because right now it's like the one bridge that's broken, if they were to do this. But here's what Adex and I came up with on how to kind of stop people from camping the border too much anyway. So what you could do is once you enter the zone, you cannot see players on the map and vice versa. So if you're in White Springs, anyone that's in the PvP zone, you can't see where they're at on the map right off the start, which I think was a great idea because it'd be a lot harder to actually camp the border itself to look for people unless you just kind of randomly come across them as you're walking a borderline, which people obviously would do. And the other thing that Azex mentioned was, you know, what would happen if people were just to enter the zone and just leave again? Like in RuneScape, you know, you can't fight them anymore. And it was mentioned that, well, maybe when you leave the PvP zone, you know, you still can't see your map, you still can't see our players on the map for like 2 or 3 minutes, say. And if you were fighting someone or took enough damage when you left the zone, you could still get killed. You could still get PvP'd. That way people can't just camp. Because again, if this concept came to life and Bethesda, like, for some reason just use this complete idea with the tokens and stuff, it would make it so people couldn't just farm tokens and just camp on them on the border and just camp players and stuff like that and not risk losing their tokens. But anyway, these are just a few ideas that were kind of bobbled around our heads about a month ago. And when I saw that they were adding a new mode to the game, not new servers, but a new mode for no restriction PvP, I thought it'd be a great time to kind of get the topic rolling, to know what you guys are wanting from this update that they're going to be adding, or maybe what you're hoping for, or hope they do, or don't want them to do. I really would like to know down below in the comment section, so if you guys could let me know, definitely do, because I'll definitely respond to you guys and read them. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Take care.